here we are with laser tag. Now, I picked up one of these laser tag guns rather randomly from Monkey's Emporium, I don't know, a few weeks back now. But it got me thinking. And it took me back to a time before Nerf guns were a big thing, back to a time when it had just become possible to shoot beams of invisible light at one another and play Star Wars and phasers and anything else you care to mention science fiction-y. We got laser guns basically, and it was a thing for about 5 minutes. But I think that in the States, laser tag here was actually quite popular and did quite well. I don't know a huge amount about the history of it in terms of sort of competitiveness and all that sort of good stuff. This was a Mattel product, so it obviously would have had quite a big sort of support network behind it in terms of distribution and everything else. So it doesn't surprise me that this was popular. But you got little accessories here. So you got a star helmet, star cap, star vest, and a star sensor, of which I have one. So it's cleverly done of its sort, because you get all these accessories you can get for it, and they're all intercompatible and all that sort of good stuff. And you would probably look like a complete prat running around in this stuff, which is probably why it didn't really catch on, unless of course you had a place to do it. And I suspect we didn't get that a lot in the UK, but I suspect that other places maybe took it more seriously. So if you remember running around in a darkened room wearing stuff like this, let me know in the comments, because this is what I did, but with Quasar. Now, I have been looking for a Quasar gun and pack. They're actually very, very difficult to find because they weren't toys. They weren't released as toys. You only tended to find them in the dedicated arenas. So I have seen some guns, but getting a sort of single one plus a pack seems to be very, very difficult. I'm going to keep my eyes open, as I always do, but that might become a thing one day for me. But I had a lot of fun with Quasar because it was a proper team game. You had various different game modes you could play, and the arenas were good, and people were generally sensible, so it was all good. But these were designed to go around to your friend's house and play with. And I wonder how many kids got seriously damaged by their mates being a little bit over-enthusiastic and getting frustrated because they didn't have any range. They got up point blank with you and decided that it would be fun to see, just how close they could get and what happens if you clank the guns together. And you can see where it's going to end, can't you? It's going to end badly. This is what is in this set here. It's a gun and a sensor and just a little... Now that's just cheating. I mean, that's 3 at once. Look at that. You don't see that. That's just completely made up, basically. Nor indeed are you likely to find a kid going horizontal. The exciting game of laser tag can be played with endless variety. You are limited only by your imagination. Yes, and batteries. And I'll show you for why. Because here we have the innards. Now, ironic, would you believe... This pack I got came with a gun, and it came with this gun. Unfortunately, hilariously, this gun did not work, and that was the gun from this pack. This gun is actually the gun I got from Monkey's Emporium, which lacked the end of a battery compartment, so it wouldn't actually work. But its battery compartment from this gun that didn't work with this pack now makes my Monkey's Emporium gun work. So, by happy circumstance, the original spark for this video actually saved this gun and allowed me to demonstrate this particular sensor actually working still 40 years on. Impressive. Now, I don't know whether or not it's got full functionality, but can you see that very, very dim light there? Similarly dim there's a little tiny flash in the middle there when I pull it. I think it's either the battery I put in it is on its last legs or it's on its last legs, but that's not really surprising given the age. But I do think that is a terrific laser gun. I can still get all my fingers on there. It fits really, really nicely. It's got a bit of a sort of V grip thing going on, although it's not actually a direct copy. It's more like an elongated Star Trek old school phaser. That's what it reminded me of when I got it from Monkey's Emporium the first time round. I think you can get to the bulb through a hatch here, although I haven't tried to force it. Got an on-off switch here. It's also got a little clicky switch here, so I don't know if you can choose teams or something using this flick switch here. I'm not quite sure what that does. I don't have any of the paperwork with it, unfortunately, so I don't know what the intention was with that. But it's pretty cool. It takes a stack of batteries in the back compartment here. I'll just show you. So it takes 6 batteries, 6 AA batteries in the back there. But in fairness to it, that is all it takes, but it does need a big 9-volt battery for its sensor. They are 9-volt, aren't they? Are they 9-volt? Yeah, they are 9-volt. And that used to be a staple when I was growing up, having these big, chunky, you know those ones, don't you? 9-volt batteries. Big, chunky, rectangular batteries. But they used to go in everything. Anything that was vaguely electric that needed a good bit of oomph took those batteries. Now this sensor is a little bit duffed up, but I did get it working just. I think it's battery compartment. I think that somebody has snapped off a battery in the contacts there, which is unfortunate, but I did get it up and running, and I will insert the video of it working now. And there you are. So that is what you got in the box, and you also got this, which obviously you could clip onto anything you wanted, and the target would just sit in there. So if you want to run around like a mad thing, you just clip that onto your clothing somewhere, and you run around like a mad thing. So it's all good. But it's relatively straightforward to find that, as it turned out, to my surprise. And as I say, got it up and running and functional, so all good. Next up, Photon, electronic phaser target game. Now, interestingly, they chose to use phaser as a word in there, but they obviously went for it. Now, I don't remember that I had one of these. In fact, I know I didn't, because I'm going to show you next what I actually had. But again, I had this sneaking suspicion that this was probably quite a popular toy at the time. But it requires a shed load of batteries. It requires 2 9-volt batteries, and they weren't cheap. And I'm not quite sure how it was supposed to work in terms of actual sort of playing with it. But it's got some nice artwork here. This just comes in the box. So it's kind of like an insert in the box. And this item is compatible with all Entitech Photon games. But the other interesting thing about Entitech is this. And I smiled when I saw this, because a division of LJN Toys Limited. Now, I know LJN Toys a little bit, because I've noticed them recently. They did Thundercats, and they did things like Rough Riders. So LJN were actually quite big in the 80s, I think, as a toy company, but I don't know much more about them than that, apart from the fact that they also did laser gun games, apparently. But I'm guessing that Entitech was a sort of a, if not a subsidiary, then a division, as they called it here, of the overall LJN company. Now, again, we've got the helmets here. You get a little photo to put on a card. Now, I haven't actually read this before. You've got a mounting bracket on the back of the target, flashing dual colour hit indicator, infrared receiver, skill adjustment knob on back. That's skill adjustment. That's interesting. Hit indicator light on the back of the gun, apparently. Trigger activated, infrared beam emitted, infrared beam receiver. Yes, you can get hit on the gun then if others are playing with you, which is not unusual. And interestingly, this has got, I've seen a port on the gun for this. That explains it. I'll show you the gun very, very shortly, but I've just noticed that there's a wire coming out of the back there, a cord coming out of the back of the gun, going into a pack. So, like with Quasar, these were designed to be used with a pack. That's clever. Okay. So these were probably used for arena play then, I would imagine, or they were designed with the potential for that. How interesting. So I wonder if this was actually a precursor to Quasar ultimately. Or, it was just a natural sort of development of the technology. But I quite like the fact that they went to the trouble of inserting that in the box, because I don't really know why they would have done that, unless it was for marketing or just for for shops or something. I don't know, but it came with the box that I got, so it fits in the box. So this is the box, and as you can see, it's quite a nice big box, and you actually get to see the laser gun inside it, and the target, and the ID card, so you can see what you're buying, which is quite nice. That's quite clever, I think. It's either going to turn people onto it or put people off it. So there is that. So fire invisible infrared beams at computerized target, and hear synchronized electronic sounds while flashing lights to register your score. And it's compatible with all Intertech Photon games. Long range phaser power. I have no idea what the range on these would have been. In broad daylight, I just don't know. But the interesting thing about this one is, so here are the little packs, but those pictures made it look like the packs were much bigger than that. But red helmet, green helmet, some sort of belt. I don't know what the belt was for exactly. Double warrior battle game. Phaser target game, which is what I've got here, and double phaser target game, self-explanatory. But they also did these little action figures, Photon Warrior Challenge, and I have no idea what they've got to do with anything. I've got 50 points proof of purchase apparently. This was 1986. Photon Marketing Limited and Deke Animation City Inc. So did they do a cartoon of this, I wonder, at some point? I really haven't done a huge amount of research on the overall background to these, but I just wanted to show you them. I don't know how long I'm going to hang on to them for. I mean, they are very much of their time, bless them. But it's quite interesting to get hold of these things and just see how they're being packaged and marketed and things of this nature. Now I've actually got that powder, but that's the original. That's the box it came in. Good old chunky 80s polystyrene. It's great stuff, but very, very protective. I mean, you have to be trying hard to break it, but I wonder how many people went through those windows to actually try and pinch the guns. So I'll just show you this one working, well, such as it isn't. Because these are the lights at the back here that are supposed to light up if you hit something, but I'm not sure it's registering. This is quite loud, so if you've got your headphones on, you might want to take them off for a second. This is the dial that adjusts apparently the difficulty. So I think that's off. That's on, sort of charging up, and then it turns green. So I guess I do it to about the middle. So I'll put that there. Put that here. You can see this one's quite noisy. So that's the general noise, but I don't know if I can actually hit this or not. That's weird, it won't even let me fire at it. That's very weird. Oh, there we go, and I've got a light up. So this time it actually worked. That was a miss. Looks like that one shot was my lucky shot. Because I can't seem to hit it again. Isn't that weird? I hit it once and I can't seem to hit it again. And it seems to shut off, I think, if you're too close to the target. But I have established that the gun itself is kind of working. So the target registered a hit, I think, and the gun registered the hit as well. So this one I don't like so much. I think because it doesn't have anything exciting around it. It's quite light, and the trigger is a bit meh for my liking. But it is quite light. I don't know what that does. It beeps very loudly is what it does. That might be a sort of reset switch, I'm not sure. But this is a 9-volt battery in the gun. This is where it's got a port which must have connected to one of the packs. And then it's another 9-volt battery in here. And again, this one's got a built-in clip, so you could just clip that onto your belt, I would imagine, if you wanted to, and then you can just run around with that and have people take pot shots at you. So that is Photon. It's lighter. You could probably use like a traditional kids' Western holster on that if you wanted to. But it's quite it's quite cool. You can see it's got a very similar idea to the laser tag version of it. And we're now going to try and get the battery out of here. Excuse me a moment. Hilarity may ensue with this one. Wait for it. Oh yeah, it's alive! It's falling apart. Nearly. Oh. Brilliant. So it works. This is Bart. Yeah, as in that. Bio-automated roving target. Check that out. That's pretty cool. Now, the massive advantage of this for me, I don't actually know what happens if you press the red button. That starts it going again. Maybe. Now, not only is this reminiscent of the little sort of floorbots out of Star Wars, this for me was terrific, because guess what? I'm an only child. Yeah, I know that's shocking news to you, I know, but it's very true. So, if I did not have a friend handy and having no siblings, this was quite a cool idea from my point of view, because it meant I had a moving target that wasn't a human. And you've got to hand it to them. Really simple, clever little idea. Stick reflective panels on a little plastic target and put wheels on the bottom of it with a little motor and let it rip. And as you've just seen, again, 40 years on, 80s technology, it survives. Now, this system was made by the Panosh group, and again, it's 86, which is exactly the same as the Photon game was. I keep thinking it's the Photon Enforcer, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. No, it wasn't. Okay. Weird. So this just came with this gun, and I haven't actually powered this one up. I think I need to put another 9-volt in. But this Laser Combat, as you can see there, Laser Combat, I haven't found a box for it, so I just grabbed it when I could, and that was a fairly funny tale actually, because bless him, the guy who was selling it on eBay had put it up untested, and then he tried to test it and he thought it was broken, so he took it off eBay. And actually, I got in touch with him and I said, look, I don't really mind if it's not working, because I just like to show people it. Could I still get it, please? So bless his cotton socks, then he reduced the price and put it back on as a buy it now, and I bought it. And he's actually not that far from me. That's a really spooky thing. He isn't actually that far. But he decided that rather than me go and pick it up, he'd actually just stick it in the post, which he duly did, bless him. But the condition of this is remarkable. The stickers are so minty. There's absolutely nothing. It looks like it just came out of his box, except I don't have a box for it, sadly. So I've no idea how this one was actually marketed, but I remember it being very much like, again, this sort of enclosed grip system, a bit like V. But interestingly, I can't actually get my hands in this one anymore. I can just about get them in there. But I really, really like this one. But I don't know if laser tag was sort of way more expensive or something, or if I got this one because I wanted the BART system more than anything else. That's quite possible, knowing me. And I'm just going to try and stick some batteries in this one. Okay, that took a little while longer to get set up than I would have liked. But she is a deeply, deeply old thing after all. So, we've got, and I think this is why the chat thought it was broken initially, 9-volt battery hidden in this little compartment here, which is, not at all obvious, and 3 AAs in this compartment here. So it's got a mix of AA batteries and a 9-volt battery, just to be really, really, really expensive to run. Little flashing light here to indicate that it's on. So you can see, gratuitous torch effect basically is as much as hint as you get that it's actually active. But nevertheless, I remember running around like a mad thing with this. And when my hands were smaller, this would have been brilliant. Because you can just, it doesn't really matter. You can hold it with 2 hands if you want with it if you really want. So I don't actually know if this one's registering hits, but let me bring this BART into play here, and I'll see if it actually will. Just turn this light off in case it's confusing it. No, I don't think it's registering the hits, unfortunately. I'm going far enough back that I can definitely see that it's hitting the BART. I can do quite rapid fire, but it's not having it as a concept, unfortunately. There isn't really anything else I can shoot it off in this room. Ah! That's got it. I shot it at a mirror. That was the other thing you could do. If you shoot it at mirrors, it reflects the beam straight back at you. There we go. Ah, yes, and now I've got a hit indicator. You can see the green light is flashing on the back now to indicate that I've had hits. Now, actually, funnily enough, that's probably me hitting me. That's probably me shooting me. So it's counting the hits I've inflicted as a hit on me, I think. Maybe that's the intent. I don't know, is that the intention? I suppose it is from its point of view. It thinks something's hit it. So I'm not sure how it was supposed to work, because if you hit the BART would presumably think that the gun would think that you'd sort of been hit by somebody else, but maybe it's distinguishing between your gun hitting it and someone else's gun hitting it. I'm not sure. But it's quite cool, and this one's actually still, it's working as intended. You can also access the bulb cover here as well. That's just the cover of the bulb. So I guess if the bulb went defunct, you could try and source another bulb to do it, and it's just using light, basically. So I've got one last thing to show you with this set, because this was quite cool. And again, it was one of those things where something comes into your head, and somehow eBay manages to deliver for you, even though it's the most random item in the entire universe. eBay still has one. And this, I haven't even looked at this yet. Brilliant! Look at this. Look at this. Let me just clear these out of the way so you can see this a bit more clearly, because this is quite fun. This is what you wore when you were playing the game. So you end up with a reflective panel down here, and you put it over your head, and those are the shoulders. But you also have shoulder pads that have the reflective targets on, so you can be hit on the shoulders. That's pretty advanced. Even though games that I've played in the past in the arenas don't tend to have that as an option for you getting hit. So I've got to say, that's impressive. That is actually, and it's got a rather sort of wayward one on the back as well there. In fact, that looks like it. Oh, that's come off there. That's sticky as. So that should be on the back, or maybe that's the front. I don't know actually. What does the leaflet say? Panosh Group, 1986, made in Hong Kong. All new materials. PVC with urethane foam filler. Surface wash only. Do not machine wash or dry clean. Okay, wasn't planning to. I love that. But that is what you would have worn. But I think that probably all came in one pack. And I just love it. I love that. I love the fact that I've been able to pick that up nearly 40 years on. I mean, how incredible is that? And it's really good. I mean, it's got all the original clasps and everything. That's just crazy, isn't it? That's just crazy. And it's so small as well. I mean, you can tell the size of child that was supposed to wear that is tiny. I wouldn't get that over my head now. I'm not sure I even want to try. It would probably just break in 2 seconds flat. But it's a very, very simple, clever idea, as many of the best ideas are. And it just works. And it's all sort of very in keeping. The stickers are really good. I mean, it's a lovely little set if you actually cared about such things at all. But it obviously, somebody obviously really thought that through. I've never heard of the Panosh Group before. This might be the reason why. I don't know. Maybe this, in the face of things like laser tag, just never ever took off. Because, I mean, laser tag with Mattel behind it, and the Photon Entertech one that's got LJN behind it, I imagine that they probably had infinitely bigger budgets than whatever the budget that was supporting this one was. But this one, in terms of out-and-out innovation, I'd probably have to give it to this one, because you're getting a very simple pack that doesn't require additional batteries or a target to be strapped to it, so that can't be broken. That requires a lot of batteries, admittedly, which isn't great. But all of them require a lot of batteries. It's either 6 AAs and a 9 volt, or 3 AAs and a 9 volt, and 2 AAs in the bottom of the BART. And then two 9 volts for the Photon. So even after you've bought the expensive kit to play them with, you've still got to fork out for the batteries. And we didn't have rechargeable batteries in those days. So once the batteries were dead, you had to replace them. And I have no idea how long they would have lasted, to be honest. So you can see why these probably had a very, very brief half-life in terms of shelf life. I don't think they would have hung around that long. But I bet a lot of kids grew up with them. And I also bet, I'm now thinking that there was a Laser Tag Academy cartoon. And I haven't looked that up, and that worries me. But as soon as I saw that Photon was mentioning Deke, for some reason I immediately jumped to Laser Tag Academy as a concept. So I wonder if they both had tie-in cartoons. So if you remember cartoons, let me know in the comments. As soon as I finish recording this, I'll go and find the cartoons almost inevitably. But I'm quite proud of myself for thinking that could have been a tie-in, because I bet that it was. Because after all, cartoons were used to sell many, many things. So late 80s cartoons that featured, I'm sure there was a Laser Tag Academy cartoon now I'm thinking about it. I don't remember watching it, but I'm sure I've seen it in sort of cartoon intro videos and stuff since. So let me know if you remember one. I'm going to go and look for it now. But I hope you've enjoyed that little bit of serious fun with the laser gun. Sorry, Quasar, I'm ripping you off. But it does really sort of take me back, and it just meant you could pretend to be Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, any of the above. Just use your imagination, and you had laser guns. Brilliant. So on that bombshell, I will leave you there. Do like and subscribe as ever. Cheers for now.